We are now live. Apologies for that. Someone made a bad decision. What a twist.
It was Sean.
So
Sean
it was
made
Frank
that
next then, wasn't it?
No, if it's a bad decision, I've probably made it.
No, it
because
was
there's a
Hatters
reason.
cut out on Hatters, or was it Bronx? I
I
forget.
think it was you now, Akari. You
Was
died.
it me now? Oh
just
yeah,
before
okay,
you-
Yeah,
so
we
what's the
skipped
question
Akari.
again? Sorry, I got a bit distracted. So what's the question again?
It was what's your
Opinions
favourite
on
Different
player
thing.
systems, right?
Yep.
Opinions on systems. Okay, well, I've had limited exposure to a lot of the systems. One of the systems that I really like, for example, is the paranoia system, mostly because it helps contribute to the atmosphere of fear, and the fact that you do have the lives gives you a chance to do things that are a bit more exaggerated that you wouldn't want to do in other games. However, I wouldn't like that situation applied to a lot of other contexts. For example, if you try to apply the paranoia system to Call of Cthulhu, that would be bad. In terms of systems I don't like, it's time for everyone to hate me. Essentially, I've recently been having a bit of an excursion with a different group into D&D. I'm a traitor, I know, but I hate it. I really hate the D&D system. I'm a traitor to everyone. I'm gonna commit spoken. But I
Which
don't
edition?
like it. I really do not like.
3.5. She doesn't
It's
like.
3.5. I've looked at the other systems as well, and honestly, to me, it just feels like it's too cluttered. I like the fact that Pathfinder's systems are clean. Obviously, that comes from the fact that they could base it off of all the old D&D systems and pick and choose what worked and what didn't, and streamline the rest. So obviously, they're
if
more
you
biased
want
within
to
that.
streamline the system,
Mm.
if you want to streamline the system, you should try Fourth.
How about this? In case you don't know, viewers, this is like this in the UK. Okay, but
Right,
the one system that
mute
the one-
yourself if it's not your turn, guys.
Yeah, please do. Okay, so one of the other systems that I'm not particularly fond of, even though it was one of my first proper tabletop experience, is MapQuest. Now, MapQuest works in a very similar way to Pathfinder in regards to the fact that you have the map and the like. But the reason why I'm not as fond of MapQuest is because it's overly simplified. It's simplified to the point where you don't feel as though you have any control or building depth into making your character and the like. And again, for me, character creation and character personality interaction is a big reason for why I got into this. So essentially, if the system lends itself towards that without bogging itself down, it's good. If it makes it too confusing or is too restrictive, I'm not a fan of it.
Let me just. Are you finished?
Yeah.
One comment about streamlining. Oftentimes, that is an issue, not necessarily with the system itself, but with the GM not being very good at teaching the players or not being very good at making it flow.
Oh, I know that, and I understand that that is also an issue that does come down to individual things. However, I just like how neat and tidy Pathfinder is. The sheet makes sense. I can understand it. I can understand the feats. With D&D, it's sort of like,
It's neat.
well, this is okay, but this isn't because of this one arbitrary thing. Oh, but if you tweak this because of this rule set, then and then I just sit there going like, I just want to fucking make. I just want to make a karate bug lady. Can I just make my karate bug lady? Date and thumbs up. A. But I just want to
Wait,
make it.
alright, what edition was this?
That's 3.5.
Well,
Oh,
you
yeah,
were playing
right.
a Scion, so you gotta bear that in
I was
mind.
originally going to make a karate bugman, and then she
Oh,
became
yeah,
a
funny
Scion
story about
gunslinger.
3.5.
Yeah,
Oh.
it became an awkward
Scions are
situation.
broken.
Scions are broken as hell. She's level 5 and she's essentially a level 9 character. That's the other thing I don't like about D&D. I don't like the level scaling system. I don't like the fact that when you're level 1, you're not actually level 1 depending on your race, etc., etc., which is one of the things that I really enjoy about Pathfinder, is the fact that your level is your level, and everything is adjustable within your level, meaning that you don't have to accommodate for different things. Say,
Unless you're a
ma-
bestiary creature.
Unless you're a bestiary creature, in which case it becomes a bit more complicated. But even so, you get what I mean.
Most of your abilities are based on your class rather than your race.
Yeah. Alright, so that's all I have to say on it.
Scion it, more like.
Alright, since Frank already went, Hatter's up.
Also,
Yay!
can I just say, Frank, go fuck yourself for that?
Hey.
I need to tell my joke again. I like 4th edition.
Go
Can we
fuck
just
yourself.
remove Hatter, please?
Yeah, I'm dumping you for that, sorry.
Okay.
No, you have to
Um,
kill him.
I've never played 4th. I've only ever played 3.5 Pathfinder and Dark Heresy. Honestly, I didn't notice too much difference with 3.5, but that's probably because it didn't last very long for me, and a lot of it was RP that I got to do. The stuff that I've done the most combat in is Pathfinder. Aside from the fact that we take forever because we have 8 people in our party, the combat's pretty good. The other game that I actually did some combat in was Dark Heresy. And what I really liked about Dark Heresy over Pathfinder is that the combat is really snappy. Like, it's done really fast no matter how many people you have, because after every shot, the guy's either dead or he's not. Like, every single time. And they usually die in 1 or 2 hits. Everybody dies in 1 or 2 hits, because you're getting shot in the face with guns. And I think that the dice system that they use is really interesting, because they only use D10s in the system, and they convert it to D5s and D100s as needed. So it's a really interesting and different system, and I really liked it, which is why I'm going out of my way to learn it, so that I can actually play some. That's all I got.
Table though. Have you seen it?
The crit table stuff for Dark Heresy?
Yeah, son.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's
Something
interesting.
else.
It's something else.
The
Dark Heresy
dreaded
is a
table
red
9s.
system as well.
Alright. Peyton, you're up.
Yep. Much like Adder, and probably out of a little bit of bias since it was my first system, I do very much enjoy the Dark Heresy system. For a lot of the same reasons that Hatter mentioned. I also enjoy it because when you take injuries, there's a little more flair to it. It's not just you got hit, you
lose 5
may or may not have a serious wound, but we don't really mention it. No, if you get hit in Dark Heresy, you know how, you know where.
Yeah, there's actually a table that describes what body part you hit whenever you shoot.
Mm-hmm. And you actually do intentionally target body parts while doing combat. That's like a main focusing point of the combat. One thing in that is there is also a tendency to die very, very quickly in Dark Heresy. You are not expected to live through an entire campaign by any means. If you do, you get very, very lucky in doing so, and don't expect it to happen again. As far as D&D goes, I'm kind of simple. I enjoy 3.5, but I just enjoy it for the diversity and what you can do with characters, because it's got a lot of options to it. The system itself, I can take it or leave it. It's kind of a basic sort of thing in my mind, at the very least.
We deserve that
it's
system in D20.
It's the standard, so to speak. And there is another system that I enjoy that I haven't gotten to play to a large extent. 2, actually. One being World of Darkness. I should say New World of Darkness, because I haven't seen all that much on Old World of Darkness. But I do have a lot of interest in more role-play intensive games and systems. So World of Darkness and Dark Heresy tend to be more my thing, as well as Call of Cthulhu, as was mentioned before. And the other one is something called Mutants and Masterminds, which at one point in time I was going to play with friends, and we couldn't figure out the system at the time. Nobody could make heads or tails of what the book was trying to say. It's something that I might look into in the future, because I do still very much want to play it and possibly run it, but I'm going to need to double up on what exactly the system runs on before I do. And I guess I should make mention of it, since it was mentioned by the others. Unlike previously mentioned opinions, I absolutely despise Made RPG.
Made RPG is shit.
It
Don't
is the
fucking
bane
vote.
of my existence. And part of the reason is because the aforementioned friends that I first started playing tabletops with forced me to DM because I was the only one who didn't want to play, which was a horrible mistake on their part, which they quickly realized as I made it the worst campaign they had ever played. It was very easy to do because they wanted to jokingly say, "Oh, let's add in ERP elements," and I told them, "Sure, let's do it. Go right ahead."
No.
Oh,
And I made it so that basically spiraled into a never-ending orgy, and they all got bored, and we stopped playing.
well, that's one way to stop the bullshit that is made RPG. Also, shout out to Mega Man.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Good man. Actually talking down the main RPG.
My opinions, though.
I need to interject as the person who GM'd the Made RPG. The problems with the Made RPG itself generally don't stem from the system, but almost entirely from players and the person running it. If you have bad players, it will be bad. If you have a bad GM, it will be bad. If you have a good GM, it straddles that line, as Anna mentioned, between creepy and fun.
You have to
Yeah,
like.
it is entirely
that's what it
based
seems,
on
though.
who's playing and who's running it. as
I
to
think
whether
a
or not
big
you're-
part of it as well is the fact that an awful lot of its humor is based on that awkward cringe style humor, and that's really, you like that or you don't like that. For me, that stuff really makes my skin just crawl. That, along with other reasons, is why I did not participate in Made RPG. The other reasons being a little bit more valid than that, and let's not get into them. But if you don't like that sort of cringe style of humor, then you're immediately not going to want to play Made RPG, because let's be honest, a lot of it is based around that. As well as
Well,
being
and
weedy as
a
fuck.
lot of the negative opinions regarding it, particularly Hatters, primarily stem from previously held prejudices regarding anime.
Dayton, what Hatch is trying to say is educate yourself.
Yeah.
Alright, guys.
Yeah, you have to like anime in order to really be able to
Yeah,
enjoy
like
it.
I said, you have to be a giant weeb. Now,
Yeah,
Essentially.
you have to like anime.
Let's
If you don't like
stop.
anime, you're not going to like Made RPG.
Okay. No, it's my turn, I guess. I can't really say much. I've only played Pathfinder. So, yeah. Oh, wait, Mike's wrong camera. Yeah, I can't. That's...
Forget it.
Well, I can't really say much because I've only played Pathfinder, so...
Do you like it?
Yeah, of course I like it. It's
No,
fun.
he hates it. He thinks it's the worst thing ever made.
It's fun. A lot of fun moments in that thing. So, yeah, that's it.
I've played, like I said before, I played 3.5 back in sophomore year high school. One thing I loathe about 3.5 is the clusterfuck of a system that is 3.5. It's
a mess.
Yeah, it's a mess. It's just like, imagine a giant clusterfuck and then like square it. It's just hideous. And I really, what I really like about Pathfinder is how they kind of streamlined everything.
They streamlined it by reducing the learning curve, but also without oversimplifying it, like Wizards of the Coast did with 4th edition.
Yeah.
They kept what was good essentially, and
They
stripped
Yeah,
out
they
all
got rid of
the
the
fat.
they got rid of the useless fat.
And then they added a consistent universe.
Which is fantastic, by the way. I love
I
Pathfinder
spend
universe.
way too much time reading up on the lore. It's a problem I have.
I've spent so much time on the Pathfinder wiki reading up on the individual countries. Conan the Barbarian versus magic
Giant
space
space
robots. I'm not joking. That's an actual thing. What's the name of the country?
Numeria, and yeah, there's an image. I don't know if we have any way to show it, but it's of a barbarian fighting a giant mecha scorpion, and it's
And-
actually canon official art.
And yeah, and the thing is, the barbarians are winning that fight.
Oh, I found the
Regularly.
image, but is there like a chat for people who are watching?
There are a few.
Yeah.
All right,
There's a thing on the
There's a
YouTube.
chat on YouTube, but you can't put links in it. What you can do instead is screen share for a moment, and then I'll just give you priority on the screen. I can do
I'll just. Oh, I can't link in the chat.
that. No, because links in the chat won't work.
Oh,
I tried to post a link to the Twitch for later, and it said, "Nah, son, you're not allowed to do that."
but then I'd have to say this. I'll worry about this later. But
Yeah.
just be wary that Numeria Mecha Scorpion versus Barbarian does exist.
You can Google it to find the image, and it's pretty fucking beautiful.
It's literally Numerian Mecha Scorpion.
Mhm.
Again, though,
That is literally the name of the image. It's Barbarian with an axe and a longsword. fighting.
Yeah, and the barbarians
There
win
you go.
these fights. They win.
Guys, let's move on.
All right, sorry, I got sidetracked.
It's alright. I do that a lot. It's part of being ADD. But you're not, so you don't have an excuse. Leo, you're up.
I don't really have an opinion on this since I've only played a couple of runs. So, yeah. I can't really have an opinion on this, but I do like the Pathfinder.
You just like the
God,
Pathfinder.
what was the... Huh?
You just like the Pathfinder. Pathfinder's good.
Yeah.
You're talking about system.
Yeah, the Pathfinder system is pretty nice for what it is, but I haven't played anything else yet, so...
Alright, then I guess it's Bill's turn.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I've only played the Pathfinder as well, so I can't really say much. But yeah, the Pathfinder is really good. Yeah, that's about it.
I like it.
Alright,
Okay.
next talking point. We've discussed our favorite editions and systems. Now let's talk about what we like and what we love and what we hate in general about tabletops. I guess I'm first again. I'm not used to being first. So what I love about tabletop gaming in general is the people. It's hanging out with friends and people who have a similar sense of humor to me, or sometimes not at all, but still I can laugh with, and just doing all kinds of fun and stupid shit and having these moments of just absolute tension like we did last night with the fight between Friend and the Promethean. It's just, I'm an extrovert. I love being around people, and I love having these stories, no matter how incomprehensible they are to everybody else I've ever spoken to. What I hate about it is, again, people. It's all about the people. Sometimes you just wind up with that one asshole who cannot fucking function as a normal human being in had or not you. It's not specifically anybody here. It's not specific. I'm not going to name any names anywhere. But there's always just that one asshole who's always a part of one group. At least one group you've ever been in, but sometimes even a part of every single group you're in. And nobody can get rid of them. You can't get rid of them because they have connections sometimes. But they're that one asshole who just ruins things for everybody. Sometimes they're a rules lawyer. Sometimes they're min-maxer, like a vicious min-maxer. Sometimes they're just not there mentally. Like, they're always focused on something else. And then when it's their turn, they take forever. Every single time. And no matter how much you talk to them, they won't listen. They're the sidetracker, the person who interrupts all the time, but just doesn't learn. The person who will not listen to everybody else saying, dude, stop. I hate that person. They can ruin everything, just that one person. And when you can't get rid of them, it's the worst. I also hate 4th edition, but that's not relevant. Patchy, you're up.
So we start with the good experience, right? I stepped away.
Either works.
I'll start with good stuff. For me, I'm just gonna say the appeal of tabletops for me is something that's a little hard to explain because I also play video games and I love video games. But if I had to pick between tabletops and video games, I would definitely pick tabletops. And it's not necessarily the community. It's not the act of playing with friends, because you can do that with video games. It's hardly even the role play. It's like I feel, well, actually I would say to a degree it's the role play. I like to read. I like books. And when I play or run a tabletop, especially high roleplay ones, and that's why they're my favorite, like Pathfinder or Call of Cthulhu, I feel like I'm telling a story and experiencing it at the same time, or I'm a character in a story, much more so than with video games, especially because of the comprehensive character creation that you have in games like Pathfinder. You build your character from the ground up, and you don't have the same kind of restrictions that you have placed on you in a video game, where you're limited to a limited selection of physical traits and character traits. Things can even be homebrewed for Pathfinder if you want them to be. And it's just that ability to create and the ability to experience what you've created that I love so much. And it's it's probably why I'm so suited to GMing, because I like that creative aspect. As well, I'm not just one character. I'm all the NPCs. I'm all the monsters. I'm everything that isn't a player character. And a lot of people say about GMing that they'd rather play the game because they don't feel like they get to play the game within the GM. And it's like, well, yeah, you kind of do. You get to play. You get to play more than the players. So, and then regarding bad experiences, I would have to express the exact same sentiments that Anna does, but I won't go too far into detail about that. My other bad experience is, as I mentioned before, I used to do a lot of Pathfinder Society, which is an organized system of play. Everything has to be trackable. As a result, there's no looting. You get a certain amount of money after every adventure. It's listed on the adventure module. There's a lot of things that you're not allowed to use in Society at all, because they're just not considered society legal because they're overpowered, etc., so on and so forth. For example, you can't play a tiefling anymore. They're not allowed in society. And I just reached the end of my rope with it. I was like, I got so fed up with the excessive rules lowering, the excessive min-maxing, the excessive... And when I say rules lowering, there's nothing is open to GM discretion. It's all the letter of the adventure and the letter of the rules. For example, a short sword cannot be used for slashing in Society, because in the rule book it says it's a piercing weapon. Even though a dagger can be used as a slashing weapon, apparently a short sword cannot. And it's just straight up not allowed. And things like that upset me to the point where I just could not play the game anymore. And I stopped, and I hadn't played for like a year, and then I started GMing. GMing things that aren't Society, that is. So yeah, that's my experiences.
Well, for me, obviously, I've had a much more short-scale period of time that I've been playing tabletops compared to, again, most people on here. In terms of good experiences and the like, again, I have to say I agree both with Anna and Hatchie, but a big part of it for me is roleplay. I come from a background where I would basically be solely based on character immersion, character interaction, and roleplay. That's where I came from. That's why I created original characters to begin with. Original character, do not steal. So that's how Hatchie even roped me into this through character creation and the like. So a big thing for me is having the Pathfinder situation, having the rulebooks, having the modules gives you the frame of reference and the context for which you can make a character to react to. For me, one of the most fun things that I enjoy about it is seeing how a character can react to it. For example, with Dilwyn. Dilwyn is a character who reacts to things in two different ways. Either she shies away or she steps up to the plate. It's very simple, it's a very basic dynamic, but it's a lot of fun to decide what situation will she step up for better, i.e. if she, for example, does a cool stone shaping thing to make a bridge, or for worse, for example, when it was early on in the campaign before Anna joined, where she kind of compounded someone's grief about, losing their loved one. She is growing through these experiences as well, naturally and organically, and also the party is growing together, growing to learn about each other more, having their grievances and their joyousness about each other expand, and that's just a huge, amazing thing to me. Admittedly, that's something that isn't exclusive to Pathfinder or isn't exclusive to a single tabletop. It's not even exclusive to tabletops. And again, I came from the role-playing community online, but it's something that I've always enjoyed in anything, and a part of that is because immersions. I'm very easily immersed into worlds. It's very easy for me to suspend my disbelief and just imagine that I am this character who is there doing this. What would I do in that situation? Which means that there's times where I'm making my character do something that would make me cringe in real life, but it's what that character would do. In terms of negatives, again, I feel like Hatchie and Anna sort of covered it quite well. The other negative thing that I have is when, and this is something that I experienced slightly before Pathfinder and the like, just something slightly when I had a few experiences with my brother. It's when that immersion and that roleplay is restricted, when you're not allowed to be as free as you want to be with it. It always feels like it's a bit jarring. Obviously, it's nowhere near as big of a breaking issue as having a bad player or having someone who is rules lawyering to the point of broken dynamics. It's all no fun at all, no fun allowed, ban it. But it really is something that changes the enjoyment for me. If it's just about win the game, then it's just about win the game. I wouldn't play a game that allows you to make a character and put as much thought and effort and design and so on and so forth into it. If I just wanted to win a game, I would go play a video game. Even though there's a lot of video games where it's about the immersion and so on and so forth. For example, the big one that we like is Space Station 13, and a lot of that is interactions. So, yeah, it's pretty probably expected from people who know me quite well. But my roleplay is immersion door. Immersion door. Yep.
All right, Bronk.
Shout out to Cat.
But yeah, fucking.
Yeah, my cat's awake, and he wants pets.
Don't even mention the cat, or the one over here is going to start meowing at me. Likes and dislikes. I'm going to start with dislikes because I like to end on a happy note. The thing that I dislike about tabletops is, generally speaking, when people take the what's it called? You know, not the whole not taking it seriously to a unreasonable degree. This is based on personal experience. A lot of the people I would play with would throw themselves suicidally off of cliffs and stuff because it was funny, thus ending the session for everyone. Like legitimately in character, which is it's odd because it's one of those very situational things rather than one of the things that is a major concern. Because generally speaking, besides the sentiment that has already been stated of just bad players, that's really the only pet peeve I tend to have with regards to dislikes. With likes, though, there's a lot to like about tabletop, specifically Pathfinder. I really like the openness of the Dungeons and Dragons systems, even Pathfinder, because it lets you experiment, it lets you come up with new things without just being outright useless. Like, you can play a luchador, because you can be specialized in grappling and pinning.
I don't know how to Luchador Skeleton.
Luchador Skeleton is
I am not
legitimately
shitting.
something that's happening. You can't stop it. There you can be someone who fights exclusively with shit that they find lying around. In fact, there is an entire class dedicated to this. You can be someone who's jumpy and flippy, or someone who can just charge right into battle and just, wade through them. You can be specialized in someone who is their entire thing is pushing and pulling enemies. It's great. But other than that, I have to agree with Akari on this, that it's the freedom and roleplay portion that really, really speaks to me. I very much enjoy creating characters, whether they start as simple or complicated, doesn't matter. It's all about throwing them into the complex world and seeing how it unfolds.
Immersions, though. Immersions.
Yeah, immersions.
I got it.
All right, next one.
I guess it's my turn.
No, it's not.
So, yes, it is.
Shut up, Frank.
I guess I'll do the same thing Frank did and start off with the bad portions, because there's really not a lot for me to talk about in that case because it's been so well covered. A little bit of everything that people have said so far. You know, sometimes you get a shitler, and I have a great thing to talk about once we get to specific, you know, best, worst roleplay moments when we get into that. That's going to be fun, but I'm going to save that for later. I also don't like when players start trying to step on each other's toes. Like, if you're playing your character in a specific way, you don't want somebody else in the party going, "You can't do that. I don't want you to do that." It's like it gets annoying after a while, especially when you have an idea for what to do. Like, their input's valuable, but sometimes I just want to play the character the way that I want to play the character. And that can get annoying sometimes. I've had that happen to me before, not only in this section, not only in like recent sessions, but in other sessions before, and it gets annoying sometimes. And sometimes when combat gets cluttered, it can get really annoying. That's just a personal pet peeve. Like, if you get wrapped up in an engagement where there's like 10 enemies, it just takes so long. So it can get sluggish in some combat systems when it takes a really long time. Now, what the good things that I like about it, I can boil it down to two things: flexibility and moments. Flexibility, obviously, what other game can I sneak past a monster and go up to the top of the tower, call a beast to the top, and then do like a front flip off the building, gliding down to the bridge gracefully? What other game is available where I can, you know, jump on top, roll through a gigantic ogre and slice him in the back? What other game is there where I can play the bard and go into the middle of town, find the local religious dude and say, "I like you, guy. I think we should go out to get the drink. You want to go get the drink?" And then spend fucking 10 D&D level gold on drinks, and then get plastered with them and wake up in the middle of the fucking town, completely butt naked. Okay, we weren't naked, but still, flexibility. It's amazing. You can do so many different things, and that's what makes it really unique. And moment-to-moment stuff. The rolls are some of the most exciting parts of the game. If you get the critical, everybody is celebrating, and if you get the critical fail, everybody has their teeth clenched. It's a mixture of incredibly awesome tense moments and incredibly awesome successful moments. So that's what I really think that I like about the system. Moving on, Dayton, your turn.
There's unfortunately not a lot that I can add on that hasn't already been said.
Karate Bergman.
Just say what your favorite thing is. Favorites and least favorites.
I know. The problem is that it's already been said.
Why you keep playing?
On both sides of it. My favorite things are the character creating, the diversity within that, just coming up with something fun and interesting to play. And whether or not it works, it's at least interesting to see the outcome, in my opinion. As for things I dislike, it's really down to the usual things that pretty much everyone dislikes. The excessive min-maxers, I especially dislike, as Hatter mentioned, the backseat playing, whether it's backseat min-maxing or so on and so forth, when someone else is telling you how you should make your character, and they're telling you how you should make your character, not just a simple, this might be a good idea, this might not be such a good idea sort of thing. It's not so good, not so fun. But I've unfortunately dealt with a lot of fun people to play with, and I've dealt with a lot of not so fun people to play with. And one particular thing that I don't like, and it's why I don't like Made RPG, because this tends to be what direction that goes in with the people that I tend to play with or had in the past. I really don't like herping if it's just pointless. Like, there are situations, and we've been joking in the main campaign about the fact that Zaomaru could actually do sexual combat in the event that we run into Succubus. It's a joke, though, and it's only for that specific purpose.
Yeah, it's like Fate
On the
Black,
other hand,
goddamn.
It's sort of like the same sort of thing when we were still planning the campaign, there was a joke that Zaomaru was going to seduce Dilwyn for her hair because her hair looks like gold. Even though that doesn't make sense with the characters at all, it was just a joke at the time. Erp is gross. End of.
Also, it's a running gag that Maddie is in chair fucking.
Well, Mattias is a fan of the man, but he's not a fan of the bird.
But the bird.
On the other hand, I have played with people who took this a little too far, both DMs and players. In particular, there was 2 DMs. It was a co-DM sort of deal, but it was really not. One person was the actual DM, and the other person was just there to throw in jokes for whatever reason. And that became... It started off as usual 3.5 campaign, and quickly devolved into let's bother me as much as we possibly can. Why me? I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. But over the course of that campaign, one of the players decided that she, and I use that loosely for certain reasons, was going to have her character pin down and rape my character while we were resting.
What?
Fuck.
DM allowed it.
That's
What?
not
What?
bad. Just
That's
all
never-
kinds of wrong.
You've told me about this before.
What?
My opinion is still the same. That person was a disgraceful player and a disgraceful person. End of.
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest
So
not going
my-
too heavily into the details on it, so because I know.
I'm not going to go too heavily into the details, but the long and short of it was I was playing an angry druid man, and my angry druid man got pinned down and raped by a scaly lizard woman.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's again fucked up people.
So if you ever run into
horrifying.
that person, it's okay to bail. It's okay to bail.
Just run.
I would have bailed.
If your DM is allowing that sort of thing to happen, the entire campaign is just fucked.
I can see a foot.
Just not acceptable under any behavior. And that's another thing I think, if I may interject, another big thing that you need to understand when you're making a campaign is you need to know the line to be drawn in the sand for every player. Obviously, everyone who plays tabletops has a different area in which they're willing to expand into. However, there is a point where everyone is uncomfortable, and the person who has the shortest point needs to be the point where it's drawn. You don't want to be excluding any member of your party, any member of your group at all, because they're uncomfortable at something. And to do otherwise is, quite frankly, abhorrent and disgusting and wrong. So your GM and the person who did that were fucked up, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you need
Oh,
to
yes,
know
they were.
players.
You
need to
know
players.
who the main DM was. We've discussed them in the past. As for who the other two were, the co-DM was doing mostly things as a joke and not intending them to be taken seriously, but the main DM decided, you know what, let's go with it. And that's when the campaign started going very, very south. Needless to say, I don't get into many campaigns of that nature anymore, because I'm very, very good at spotting the people who will take things in that direction, and I don't play with them if I can help it. If I have any say whatsoever, I do not play with them. And if I don't, I do not play with them. So that's my input on that, I guess.
Yeah, if I may interrupt before Spockman goes. Yeah, that's one of the things that make or break a group is the sense of humor. It's where you draw the line. If you're involved, if a group has like a DM or even one player who doesn't know where the line is, especially if your DM doesn't know where the line is, things can go like, I mean, I've never been in that extreme a situation because I've never somehow wound up playing with people who think rape is funny. God forbid. But yeah, it's the shared sense of humor. It's where everybody draws their lines is what makes it break a group, really.
To be fair, the person in question who actually decided to rape my character, we also they're involved in quite a few less than
Savory.
Yeah, less than savory hobbies, we'll say.
Ugh.
Having said that, that doesn't excuse their actions in this circumstance at all.
Oh,
and
no.
again, you were
Makes
treated
it worse.
tremendously in that situation.
It makes it where, in hindsight, I kind of should have assumed as much. And
You don't know until it happens, man.
yeah,
Was the player a guy? I'm curious.
yes.
That would explain it.
I only ask because a guy playing girl raping a guy makes it a little bit
It
weirder.
was a case of, and I'm going to be completely honest here. They were trans. They were male.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why I said she with air quotes.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, Scotland, please cheer it up.
Okay, well, I honestly...
Sorry to bring it quite so south.
Well, I don't really have much to say, since I don't have much experience. I mean, I can say a lot of good things. I mean, the RP's been fun. Battle's been fun, especially that one. Oh,
It's what you
someone's
over.
gone. And that battle at the top of the tower was probably the best thing. And so was blasting a hole through that construct. Oh boy. So, yeah. And there isn't really much I hate about it. No, not really. So that's it. Spaghetti.
All right, Sean.
My one of my biggest pet peeves in a tabletop role-playing game is when people don't role-play.
Ah,
Yeah, there's a lot of people that just kind of like stand passively around as things unfold.
Especially in society.
They just kind of stand there, watch something happen. I'm gonna go do this. They don't react to things or much of anything really. It's more. I've played with a few people in the past who literally just sat by during combat and just kind of waited and waited and waited and waited, and it was just absolutely horrible. They didn't add anything to what's going on. They didn't.
experience.
Yeah, they just didn't do much of anything, and then out of combat they still didn't do anything. So they weren't even useful, as something socially, or provide anything interesting at least.
They didn't even provide numbers, which is awful.
They're just floating.
Yeah, they're just kind of there, and that's what I really hate. Like sometimes you'd be in a town, and I'd think to myself, this would be the perfect time for so and so to do something great in the city, and then they just don't do anything. It just frustrates me. As for good experiences, I love it when a party gets when they start synergizing at any point. I'm trying to put this into words. When they start to click. Like everyone has their designated role. Everyone, does things during combat. Everyone
they know
knows
what they're doing
exactly.
and they're gonna do it.
Yeah. And when they do it well.
If I may interject slightly, that's one of the reasons why at the moment in the current campaign I really love the jokingly called Iomade Dream Team of Matthias and Dilwyn, because the way that the characters have had their interaction, the way that they have their backstories and the like, means that essentially they're very quick to react to each other's positions. So Matthias will usually jump in to help Dilwyn if she's in a compromising situation, and Dilwyn will jump forward and do the buff, hit the thing if needs be, and it tends to lend to this very good synergy. At the same time, I also love that within the party as a whole, we've gotten recently very good at actually placing ourselves in the right order and placing ourselves in the right situations, where in combat, we are actually quite an effective party. Admittedly, part of that is because we're a fucking huge party in the main campaign. We're 8 players. But the other thing is that when we're out of combat, when we do have roleplay moments, it's really interesting to see how these personalities all mesh with each other. And that's one of the things that I love about tabletops and the likes that you can click. So, yeah, I don't want to take on too much time.
As for, Annie, you were going to say something? You unmuted for a moment.
Yeah, no, I was gonna try and get everybody back on track, but okay.
Yeah, as for good experiences in roleplay, yeah, that's my favorite thing that ever happens, when playing with the parties, when everyone just kind of clicks in a position. Because I know the first few levels are kind of weird for everyone, because they're still gaining their abilities and all that, and it's just kind of weird for the entire party. But once they finally get to, they can play how their class is supposed to be played, like third-ish level, then it really starts to get fun. I'm gonna mute now. I probably didn't have to tell you guys, but...
Alright, now... So, yeah.
Leah, are you there?
I believe Leah may
She looks to be AFK. So, Bill, how about you want to go?
Yeah, she's AFK at the moment.
Honestly, I don't know what much to say that you guys have not already gotten to. I mean, I guess what I really don't like is let Leigh go first, actually, so I can think about it.
Hey, Leigh, it's you up.
Yeah, I thought so.
No, the question was what you like and dislike about tabletop.
I don't really dislike anything about tabletop, though, besides, well, I might get a feel for it later on. But, there's a lot of good things about it, which have been commentated on as well. So I don't really have much to campaign. And that's really all I have to say about this.
Alright, then Bill.
Go, Bill, go.
Alright, yeah, some of the things I don't like would be kind of, well, sometimes, there are disagreements between players and stuff about, what exactly we should be doing and stuff, so, I haven't really experienced that much, though, so it's not really much of a problem. And I guess what I like about it, I don't know. There's a lot I like, but everyone's kind of touched on it and stuff. Yeah, that's it.
Alright, so we have enough time for one more topic, and that is the one question we've gotten. And I'd love to make it sound like we had got more, but let's be honest, there's 6 people watching this stream right now, and while I love you all very much, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so Magic Iguana asked us, what was all of your most memorable deaths? Now this is going to be fun to answer for all of us. Alright. So you all know, if you've been following the blog long enough or gone back through the archives of the first time I died, all of my deaths are memorable because they're all humiliating. So the first time I died was one of my favorite characters, Danny Sherrington, a witch, in a fairly brutal campaign, but it was totally by accident. I died in a minor encounter. Hang on. What?
recovering for now because she had to be pulled away.
No, it was my sister. She was giving me back my headphones.
Okay, cool.
Anyways. Alright, so why am I frozen? Why am I not moving?
Your camera's not working again.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Fuck me. Why? Hang on.
Refresh.
Alright, there we go. Alright, I'm good. Okay, so it was Danny Sherrington. He was one of my favorite characters. The first time I'd really gotten into a character. The first time I really, I guess, role-played. Because it took... I'm not very good at being other people. I'm a terrible liar. I'm terrible at pretending things. Which is hilarious because I'm a writer. And I've been told I'm very creative. But personally, I guess I'm biased. But I got butt stabbed by a Draugr in a minor encounter. He nat 20 to stab me in the ass. Those were the DM's exact words. He nat 20 to stab me in the ass with the sharp end, with the sword on the end of his axe, and did max damage. And since I'm a witch and had like less than 20 hit points at level whatever we were, I think it was like level 2 or 3, I died instantly. I also cried. That was less fun. Second time I died was in the Monday Night campaign, which is especially brutal because the DM rolls very, very high, and it's a bit of a rules lawyery campaign. I have to say, it's not so bad that it's not fun, but sometimes if you say something, it's going to be taken literally, even though you obviously didn't mean it that way. And it's just, you die a lot in this campaign. That's the point. It's not a character friendly campaign. That character, I knew she was going to die, so I rush jobbed a new character at the beginning of that session, because this character was the embodiment of my blog and was just nothing but bad decisions over and over. She was this gnome alchemist who, the first time we realized she was going to die was when she ate the fried pixies on a stick. Because that's called playing in character, is when you personally don't believe in eating other sentient beings, but your character does. And what's great is because she was a gnome, so it's like a human eating a monkey. So that was fun. I died again the 2 sessions later in that campaign, because I got suggested by a candy cane to attack the party healer, and the lizard folk murdered me. I threw my character sheet at him several times until I missed. I also died. The first character who died again while he was already dead. That was okay. So what happened is the DM decided to throw me a bone, and we did a session inside his mind because there was this organization that wanted some information he had. And so there were different manifestations of his consciousness. And actually 2 of them died. One of them was murdered by the 12-year-old tiefling who slaughtered him, took off his arm, and wore it around her neck for the rest of the session. And then the other one died in a fairly dignified fashion by the boss because I kept forgetting that witches should not do frontline combat. So then I re-inhabited the less destroyed body, minus an arm. So those are all of my memorable deaths. God, I can't die in Dig Deep. I'm incapable of it.
That laugh was Hatchy plotting.
As I mentioned before, I used to be a hardcore min-maxer in Society. I have never died in any game. No, I've died in Call of Cthulhu, but that hardly counts. In Call of Cthulhu, I got frozen solid by, I forget what they're called, but they're those flying lobster creatures. Yeah, I got frozen solid and then shattered into tiny little pieces. I was an author, just a random penny novel writer, and I got frozen solid and shattered. As well, I don't have any other deaths. That's the only time I've ever died in a game. And I have a lot of stories of people I know who have died that I've witnessed that I've either been GMing or playing for. I'll start with the funniest one. Okay, so we were on a journey into the World Wound. I was playing the Rogue, and well, not into the World Wound, but into the Wastes. This was in Pathfinder, and we were journeying with this one commander dude who was slowly losing his mind, and at the end he went insane and tried to kill all of us. Now, the barbarian in the party decided he was going to grapple his horse. The commander's horse. He grappled the horse, attempted to suplex him, failed, and then the horse bit him, critted, and killed him. It was hilarious.
You should leave the luchador and kill those Tiburon.
It was amazing. That's the only one that really comes to mind thinking of fun deaths. There was, in Shadowrun, one of the party members, his head blew up because he got hit by a sniper, but that happens in games with guns. So, there was that. Oh, one NPC death that I quite enjoyed. That was actually my responsibility in the Call of Cthulhu session where I died, in fact. There was this random hillbilly guy that was refusing to talk to us. My character snapped, lost his patience, pulled out a shotgun, shoved it in his mouth, and demanded he talked. And when he refused to talk, I blew his head off. I had gone temporarily insane, so my character that was. So that happened.
Can I say that I once killed an NPC party member? I was trying to chop him out of I was trying to cut the velociraptor that had him in its mouth, and I crit failed, and I chopped him in half.
Oh, that reminds me. I killed 2 party members once by setting them on fire. We were all stuck in a bunch of webs, and my first instinct was burn the webs. Because we were going to die if we didn't get out of them instantly.
Okay.
So I threw Alchemist Fire.
You
2 people died.
Dumbass. Also, I just want to say, Hatchie, the thing about the horse nearly made me fall off my fucking stool, and now my ass is bruised. So thank you very much for that. Memorable deaths. Obviously, I haven't been playing that long with this. I do have memorable character deaths in roleplay as a whole, but let's not go into that. The big one that really comes to mind, it was during the Call of Cthulhu campaign that I played. I was playing a journalist, because I'm lazy and I default to journalist in a lot of things, who was investigating the events going on in the town. And she was slowly starting to piece together the story. We're actually reasonably late game when it got to it, and she'd survived a surprisingly long amount of time. Her sanity meter was low as hell. She was basically about to crack any moment. And I was going up this huge block of flats, or apartments, as you guys call them over there, in before Sean gets pissed at that. And there was a cult based like near the top floor, so as you went up you had to take sanity rolls and sanity rolls and sanity rolls, and about halfway up, and it was like a 50-story building, about halfway up my character failed their roll and went insane, and she could just hear this endless muttering, whispering, moaning in her head, and so she decided that there's nothing worth living for. So she said, I don't want to live in a world with these voices in my head. So she ran to the window, crashed through it, jumped out, fell to the ground. I had to roll the character. But it was a fun way to go, and it made sense for the character, because before then, they'd basically been put on their wits' end. They'd been that close to snapping for like I'm trying to remember exactly how long, but it was for a very long time, and they'd lost almost all their sanity almost immediately, and then somehow managed to just edge on until then. Sorry.
That means that they would have gone temporarily insane for a bit.
Yep.
Because if you lose that much, you are temporarily insane.
Yep. So yeah, that's the issue.
Cat, no, that's my pencil, my dollar pencil.
But yeah, that's the most memorable death I have at the moment.
And then tonight will happen.
No scheming at all, honest. Anyway, yep.
Yeah, you're such a liar. And okay, hang on. Next up.
That's me, isn't it? Memorable deaths. Really? I've only ever died personally once. because I haven't played Call of Cthulhu, so I don't have a line of people who are dead. It was my first campaign, the one that I mentioned with text based that fell apart. It was my ranger, and because of homebrewing, they said that it was okay for me to have a velociraptor. Normally that's reserved for druids, but what had happened was we were down somewhere in some tunnels, something to do with drow, and a giant spider fell from the ceiling, and like half the party shit their pants from its ridiculous intimidate. And what it did is it tried to bite me, so I tried to maneuver out of the way, but we hadn't really explored the area that well, and I triggered a pitfall trap and I died. So for the rest of the game, I was playing as the Velociraptor. Which, it was interesting.
What?
Spider didn't bite me though.
Well,
They let me play the
Velociraptor.
Velociraptor. It was great. It was fantastic.
There's worse things to play than a fucking dinosaur.
Yeah, it was literally a dinosaur.
This one as a cavalier, who couldn't hit anything, but his horse was basically like boxing champion, because his horse was the only one hitting anything. So for the longest time, up until I had to go back to school, because this was last summer, the whole party was lobbying to kick him out of the campaign and just have his horse as an NPC party member, because the guy playing him was such an ass. He attacked another party member in the middle of combat for no good reason.
What? Yeah, that's a dick move.
Yeah, it was a real dick move. Unfortunately, now he's not playing. He also tried to steal me from the Monday Night campaign in front of the DM.
Gross.
Yeah,
like in real life?
Like, what? Really? I turned him down as politely as I am capable of, which wasn't very polite.
Alright, so Hannah, memorable stories. I know you have one.
I have two, actually. Both of them are with the university group. I'm going to try and go through them right now. Actually, I have three stories. The first one is one time I played 4th edition and I died. The end. No, I actually died. I'm a ghost. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry if you hear drums. My brother is playing. Okay, so the first actual story, I was playing 3.5, and what happened was we were doing a weird campaign where it was kind of like a war, so we all had a bunch of troops and stuff, or a couple of the players had a bunch of troops that they could command. Whatever, that's beside the point. I was playing the bard that was singing about dicks. That was this campaign. So I was a bard, a human bard, and basically I would always write songs about things like, you are so great, you are so strong, now slap him around with your massive dong. And anyway, my charisma was stupidly high. So, like I said, I managed to convince one of the local priests to go out drinking with me, and we did that, and it was super fun. I spent 10 D&D gold, which is a stupid amount, and eventually, somehow, we got to a point where we were not supposed to be. It was supposed to be a thing where we came back to this town and found this place after a lot of stuff, but I managed to get us in there with such high charisma. And what we found was a weird silver lake underneath the church. It was possessed fluid or something. Or no, it wasn't silver, it was black. It was this weird black fluid. So to test it out, our berserker, he was a tribal berserker guy who could grow gigantic. And he thought, you know what's going to be a good idea? I'm going to kick one of the priests into the black pool to see what happens. So he kicks the guy into the pool of liquid, and he starts to get eaten. But then, as the priest is getting eaten, he decides, wait, I didn't want to do that. So he jumps after the priest to try and save him. And he falls into the liquid. Now they're both in the liquid. The liquid is sentient. It's trying to drag them down to the bottom and kill them. So we grab Silk Rope, we throw it in. He's holding on for dear life, making strength checks. Eventually he fails, gets sucked underneath the black fluid, and then we get a description of how he dies. He winds up engaged in underwater combat with a spirit bear in the Black Lake. Not even kidding. Gets torn to shreds. The lesson that we learned that day is commit to your murder. The other one, same group, same guy. We were doing Dark Heresy, and what happened is that currently And at that point in the campaign, because it was about as far as we went, we were split into two groups. We had the military-based group and the people who were playing around with the local guys. He was with the local guys playing a fresh out of boot camp cadet. And basically what happened is that the leader of the cult, like the lead priestess, kept offering him sex. And as he continued to fuck her, he began to feel weaker and weaker and build up corruption points. Turned out he was fucking a succubus. So what happens is that he builds his corruption points up to a stupid level, and then eventually our parties meet. And when our parties meet, my half of the party is with Inquisitors. We're with the Inquisition. They're with us. And they can smell corruption on people. His corruption is so high that he immediately gets thrown into an interrogation room. The entire time he's trying to rules lawyer his way out, saying, oh, but I'd be cool with the Inquisition. I'm part of the Inquisition army. He didn't succeed. They blew his brains out because he fucked a succubus too much. Not even kidding. He fucked himself to death.
Yeah, generally speaking, that's a trap a lot of GMs use. I don't know if any of you watch Spoonie, but he did an entire hour-long video talking about stories where
I love Spoonie.
If anybody wants to fuck you in a tabletop,
It's not going to happen.
it's the succubus. It's always a succubus, or it's a child disguised as a werewolf disguised as a child. It's always something like that.
Why would you fuck a child?
No, that was trusting.
You might be a
woman.
drow.
That wasn't trusting a.
That was called bad
I'm
phrasing.
playing a drow in the magic book. Well,
Bad phrasing, but basically, you never ever trust NPCs who are overly friendly to you, especially if they're women, because 9 times out of 10 they're a succubus.
And the 1 time out of 10 that they're not, they probably got some horrible disease.
and if they're a man, they're probably an incubus.
And if it's a seemingly harmless female child, they're probably something else.
Yay,
Probably not.
chlamydia!
All right, next up.
Who's after him? I forget.
That would be me.
Yeah, you.
Well, there's only one real death that I've had in a tabletop, mostly because of the fact that actually, no, 2. Mostly because of the fact that most of the campaigns that I've been in have cut short for one reason or another. The first one was also my first campaign, which got so derailed. To put it this way, my character in my first Dark Heresy campaign went through the following horrible afflictions in this order. Lost an eye to a I don't even remember what it was. It was a chaos demon, big claws. Lost an eye to that. Immediately following that, got his armor grafted to his skin by a flame demon. Lost an arm a couple sessions after that. That one was to a person, though. Just got a lucky crit, and off it went. And then finally, after we had inadvertently caused the creation of one of the main 3 Chaos Gods, got shot in the leg and disabled and subsequently chainsawed to death by a Space Marine. Yeah. It was fun, but yeah. Yes, we're Dark Heresy. Yeah, Dark Heresy being based on Warhammer 40k, so yeah, Space Marine. Chainsaw sword. The second death that I had was unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, in that same campaign that I mentioned earlier that had the 2 DMs and the unfortunate other person. Because the session immediately following that particular incident, we got attacked by desert raiders who, for whatever reason, were going around in a sand boat and fired a cannonball, and I unfortunately got hit. and the top of me got blown clear off, and that was the end of my character. And I'm kind of happy that it was.
Gave you a good exit strategy at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, dying's always a great way to
I
leave.
would have probably just not shown up to the following session. I would have been like, nope,
Well,
nope.
I showed up specifically for the reason that I wanted to inadvertently kill that player for the incident in question.
Then
Yeah, that was the only reason that I was planning to go on to.
I would have just noped the hell out of there. Yeah.
Well, RNGesus had my back that one particular time, and just offed me. Just nope. It's
He never has your back in my campaign.
Well, it's not that it never has my back. It just has my back at very odd moments.
RNGesus has our back in your campaign. You have not been abandoned by RNGesus until you've been in my Monday night campaign. That is being godless.
Oh dear.
Note: rolling siblings.
Oh yeah, true. RNG. Oh, that's RNG taking here's my pittance. God help you.
That was a nat 20. What are you talking about? That's RNGesus going in your favor.
I really wouldn't call that in my favor.
Yeah, not would I.
That's like genie rules in your favor.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a big family. Nat 20. Son of a bitch.
Well, and that's only the ones you know about.
Yeah.
Your mother's legs probably only close if she goes into a casket.
Oh my fucking god.
That's assuming she goes into a casket.
Well, I mean, she's hit menopause now, so I mean, she can do it all she wants.
Sure about that?
Yeah.
I don't know what you think.
Yeah, she doesn't have any. She hasn't given any more children since the last one. What race was that?
Since I still have that fucking page up, it was a fetchling.
Ah,
Well,
so
the
she
other
fucked
thing
the
is that-
being from the shadow plane.
Well, the other thing is that because of all this, there's a chance that Zaomaru is technically like a half sibling to Dilwyn. Very slim chance, but there's a slight possibility of it.
Yeah, because
But now Dylan wouldn't know, would she?
Dilwyn wouldn't know because she never knew about it.
Dilwyn might have the same father that one of Zomaru's siblings
Two.
has. So
Two of them because they're
Yeah.
twins, which means that Dilwyn might technically have two little half siblings.
Wait, aren't the Asimars twins?
yeah.
Yes,
Well, there's
Masamune.
the Asimar twins, and then there's one other Asimar, wasn't there?
Things can
No,
relate
it was
to
just the two.
Oh no, right. It was the Sulis. There was twins.
Yeah,
And
there
then
were
one other
4
Suli.
Stoolies, including my character.
Yeah. She
She
had a thing for Johnny.
She really liked outsiders.
Alright, guys. Alright, guys, let's refocus.
Anyways.
Stop
Yeah.
you're up.
Okay, I guess it's my turn. I don't really know any player deaths, but NPC deaths. One of my favorites would have to be the most recent from the most recent session, the battle on top of the tower between the Beast of Lephistad and the Promethean.
It was majestic. We had Giles' theme going and everything. I made Hachi do it.
We went up there to a system. I enlarged him, which was amazing, and Iska Mage Armored. Pretty cool. He pushed it off the tower. It fell, like, what was it, 4,000 feet?
300 feet.
300,
yeah.
But we also had the triple buff because we had Levesius' character made friend huge. My character gave him bull strength, and then Iska gave him mage armor, which meant that it was OP plus nuff, except do not nuff.
Yeah, so then I not only took away that minus he got from being huge, and then I added another 3.
He effectively had a plus 3 to his AC.
Yeah.
I fired a arrow at him.
And
Yeah, you're real close.
You
Yeah,
missed.
you helped. I don't know, what was that thing that I shot? Oh no, never mind. Wasn't there that thing I touched? I forget what it was. I touched it with Shocking Grasp.
Oh yeah, the Besidrend. It was a
But that
little
was still cool.
plant.
Oh yeah.
5d6 damage. Jesus. At level
Shocking
5.
Grasp is too good, but combat
It requires a touch. Yeah, a touch attack.
I
barely ever used.
The other one was that construct that I blow a hole through.
Yeah, the hobbling
disgusting.
clawed apparatus.
That was fun. Blasting a
Right.
hole through that fucking thing.
Leia, you got anything?
Not really, but there was the one NPC death that happened in the evil campaign. That poor goblin. That poor goblin. You couldn't just let him run away, could you?
Oh yeah.
Goblin Fred.
Yeah.
I'm keeping track of the fucking goblin names.
Goblin Fred. You put him in an imaginary cage and then just killed him right there. That was
Oh
so
yeah,
sad.
Adder did that, and then
Thought he was in a
didn't I
cage.
kill him? I don't remember what happened.
When did this happen?
How was that shopkeeper that me and Anna
This was in
destroyed?
the first session.
This was while I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you
Also,
guys set the place is on fire.
They killed
Yeah.
multiple
Can I
people.
just
They
say
burned down a
my
town.
revolution?
We didn't. Okay, in our defense, we didn't mean to burn down a town. We only meant to burn down one building. We were not
Yeah,
aware.
but
that the town
then
had
you know what happened, Anna. The roles revealed themselves. Alright, Byron, you got anything?
Nah, you guys pretty much covered all of it. I don't have anything to say.
Alright, well, we have
Did
Evil.
Sean have any?
Alright, Sean, yeah, did Sean did I skip you? Sorry, Sean, my bad.
Yeah, you did skip him.
Rob.
Full
John?
name?
I actually don't have very many interesting death stories. I haven't actually played. I played like one game of 2 games actually before the game store closed down, and almost none of them actually had death. They were normally you ran out hit points, you bleed out all over the ground.
There was we won't tell this story because the party isn't supposed to find out yet until your character decides to reveal it. But yeah, your former adventuring party, we cooked up how they died.
Hey,
was
you know
interesting.
me and feels. Give me the feels, boss.
Oh, Iska's got lots of feels.
I'm an evil person.
Oh yeah, this guy has PTSD.
I think I'm one of the few
snap.
people who doesn't
one has
in the
PTSD.
party who doesn't have like a painful past.
No,
I
you
didn't
don't
mean to
have
give Iska a painful past. It just sort of happened.
Yeah, we were discussing her backstory, and it's like, what about this?
The thing I find interesting.
And then I started to reveal it last night.
The thing I find very interesting about
Yep.
PTSD in characters is that it depends on how much research you do. Obviously, I come from a military family, and I've also done an awful lot of reading into PTSD and the effects through a lot of different courses that I've taken over my life. And it's really interesting to see how you can apply it to a character's actions, and the way that Iska treats hers compared to the way that Dilwyn treats hers are two very different things. And I'm really excited to see how we can get these to emerge more and impact everything. So, I'm an evil person.
And Iska's got some special things in store for you.
I'm an evil person. Alright, well, I suppose that's about it.
So yeah, with all that said, do we want to do any end of stream plugging? Anybody want to drop like contact information if people want to talk to you or whatever? Do it now.
We have a scene group. I mean,
We do have a scene group.
sometimes we forget to hang out in the chat. Period. But
Have it open
Yeah,
like
sometimes we
24/7.
forget that there's not.
I mean,
It's
all
not.
the time.
Well,
We're
if you want to,
Sunday.
if you want
We
to contact,
fangirled over one of my oldest fans. Shout out to XGax. I don't know how to pronounce it. Can't get your butt out of my face.
I literally have it open
one
right
of the
now.
things
My most communicative
one
fan.
thing I want to say.
So
What?
yeah, one person.
If Grandma put a car around
go
Fuck
yourself.
you!
Go fuck.
Look at this photograph.
Let's totally go through a order. If you want to leave any contact information, do it. So we'll start with Anna. Anna, how can we get in touch with you?
The Steam group, the Dungeon of Bad Decisions Steam
You
group.
can just add us on Steam. I mean, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. There's the Tumblr, which presumably is where you found out about this, and God damn it, fucking stop that. I'm just gonna hold it for now. I mean, you guys all know where you can find me. Also, check us out after this stream is done on Akari's Twitch chat, which she'll, what's the word? Boost?
Plug.
Yeah, we're gonna be playing some. We're gonna be playing some.
Plugging.
Plug.
Yeah, we're gonna play some Dance Dance Immolation with the Necrodancer.
Uh-huh.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, I like that one.
Alright, well, by the way, Frank, you're going to need to send me your brother's character details.
Oh, sure thing.
Wait, he's gonna play?
Wait.
If she wants to use it, he's supposed to be in Varisia right now, though.
Oh, just the character. Okay.
Alright, Akari, you're up.
Well, I
How'd
guess
you
actually,
start?
Hatchie already said that he's happy to have people added on Steam. I'm happy for you to add me on Steam, Skype, anywhere. My basically look for Akari MMS or Akari_MMS. You'll find me. I use the same name everywhere. So I'm most likely to contact you back on Steam. Skype I get a bit busy with, and bear in mind that I do multitask work whilst doing all this stuff. I've actually been multitasking a little bit right now, so that's why I've looked somewhat concerned because oh no, PR again. But yeah. And also after this, go to twitch.tv/Akari_MMS because I'll be GMing the EVO campaign for the last time for 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, there's gonna
Wait,
well,
what?
it's a 2-week hiatus. Next weekend and the weekend after, as has been mentioned multiple times, I'm gonna be out of the country. So Cool Name's probably gonna fill in the gap with some Call of Cthulhu.
And I'll be
Straight
streaming-
Cthulhu, not pulp.
Yeah, and I'll be streaming that on the channel. I'm also going to be over the week. I'm going to be starting to
Also,
upload.
some terrible listening.
I'm also going to be uploading the old streams, all the streams that I have, onto this YouTube channel that you're watching right now. Hey. So keep in mind for that. Anyone else want to put up your contact links?
Ronk, you're next.
Just I hang out on the Dungeon to Bed Decisions chat, Steam chat, all the time. So my display name is Frankie Poo on Steam, so you can look me up.
Alright, cool. I'll go next. It's pretty easy to get in contact with me. I have an email, thegoodsirhatter@gmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter. It's at Hatterini. That's a Hatter with an INI. And I also have a Steam account that you can add. It's steamcommunity.com/id/thegoodsirhatter. So those are all places that you can get in contact with me.
Oh, right, hang on. My Steam, I forgot to say my Steam name is Storyseer, STORYSER.
Mine is Hachin. You can see the spelling right there, minus the ya.
Lamau.
All right. Dayton, anybody contact you?
I would say, as much as I am not usually on there, Steam is a place that I can be contacted from when I'm on, and otherwise, I guess Skype would be a good way. As far as Steam goes, my username on there is QRN103, and on Steam it is D10 as in DYTN003. It's an old Skype account, that's all I can say. Yeah.
We never get in contact with Dayton though. He disappears because he's a mysterious and puckish rogue.
Because he's a harem anime.
Because he is the karate dogma.
Take up my time, and sometimes I'm not exactly happy
It's
about
okay.
it.
He's here when we need him the
It's
most.
okay. On the side, he's a karate bugman for justice. So don't worry.
Sometimes he's busy.
On the side, he's the center of the harem of raising people.
Wearing a belt right now, right this moment.
Hell yeah.
Right,
You're such a filthy weeaboo.
wow,
I got
sorry.
another one, please.
We're all filthy weak.
My shelf, among other things. Shelf.
All right.
Sparklin, how can we get in touch with you?
Just go on Steam and search for Sparklin1166 or something. That's about it. You can find me, I don't know, if you want to email me directly, go to... I'm on Hotmail at sparklin116.com.au. That's it. I don't use that at all. I
You
just
mean
use that.
Sparklin116@hotmail.com?
.au.
No, that's at,
You sure to add us for all the terrible spam
no,
sites.
it's at
Grandma pull
Christian's
the car around.
at harrymen.com. That's
Contact me at Hot Christian Girl 69 at sex.sex.
Not being spicy at me.me.
Explicit.
meme.
You gotta look at
Top-
look at this
Other way-
photograph.com.au. Just find me on
Another way you
Alright,
can get in
guys.
contact with Spotlin is you just gotta look at this photograph.
Oh,
Okay, guys, stop
Jesus.
putting Nickelback.
Why did I initiate
Sean!
this?
Sean.
Every time he does, it makes me
Hello.
mad.
How do we go
And then
Guys, knock it off.
If you really want to get
anybody
into
else got
contact with me, if in the odd chance you want to get in contact with me, you can find me on Steam. It's just my cool name.
He's a fucking nerd, bear that in mind.
He's the pun king. He's
Yeah,
the
he
king of
doesn't talk
the
about that much.
Yeah, me being here is your guys' eternal punishment.
The worst thing is that I'm the reason he's in it all. So, you know, that's great. That's all my fault.
Like I said earlier.
Sorry, that was your karma for getting dropped off. For bringing him in was getting dropped off the thing.
Yep.
Leia, anyone to contact you?
Is that all?
I'm trying to get ready to provide my Tumblr because I have an about page that has everything else in
Oh
it,
yeah, that's
but I
it.
can't quite get
Leia,
it.
I love that hoodie.
It's not a hoodie, it's a kigurumi.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's a really cute
Kigurumis
kigurumi.
are cute.
Oh, so the other thing is that you can contact me on akariamess.tumblr.com because I have one of those too. And I actually
I'm
do a lot of-
trying to set it
Yeah,
up,
you can find me on Tumblr as well.
but it's...
Maybe skip to Baron for now. Until you have that up.
Bill, how do we contact you?
You can contact me at baronbill@hotmail.com. You can also get me on Steam, or
Sure.
yeah, as you should be able to find me on there under Baron Bill. Yeah, I don't think I should give my Skype on here though.
It's fair enough.
I also hear that if you lick your lips, essentially, he'll show up at your door in 20 minutes.
Oh
What?
no.
What?
I have to get banned.
Okay, the other way to contact me is to send a message via pigeon. Just
Just to note to you guys, if you ever lose a carrier pigeon, it in fact wasn't a carrier pigeon, it was just a normal one.
You mean a messenger pigeon?
Same difference.
I actually got it set up, but,
the breed has died
guys.
out.
Alright, guys.
They're extinct. They're dead.
I'm not
Ripperino.
sure if I'd be able to apply my Tumblr
Just tell them
thing
your-
just yet. It's Plague6Night at tumblr.com.
Night as in Sir Knight or Knights of the I don't know.
Alright.
Not as in oh my god, it's so dark.
Alright, well,
Anna, play us out.
yep, Anna, go ahead and kill
Alright. Alright. Love you all, keep gaming. And you know, go on my blog. Please.
I gotta pee.
And you're all fucking nerds!
Alright,
Fuck you, Sean.
okay,
Sorry, bring
guys.
us home.
You're the king of nerds, Sean.
Alright, guys, I will see you on the Twitch in about 10 minutes. I need to get a drink first and get some things prepared. Otherwise, prepare for spaghetti.
Yeah, she's
Oh,
gonna get
so
some
good.
nasty.
Cut and stream now. Goodbye.
Bye.